I'm doing great, G. I haven't had this much fun watching the Knicks since Linsanity, honestly. And because it was kind of unexpected, but it also goes to show you what a great coach can do to a group of guys that seem to be pretty motivated. They like each other. They like playing for each other. And last night after the game, just watching the guys all support Julius Randle in his quest to make it to the All-Star game tells you all you need to know. And you're right. We've been talking about Julius Randle since week one. And week one, because he came back in shape, he looked like he was motivated. He looked like he wanted to be a difference maker. And, I will say that his play has talked for itself. We have amplified the talk. We've had fun talking about how good he has played, especially when you got to deal with James Harden having another triple-double last night, and you got to see, Kyrie Irving, the off wing shooting like a madman, and they just running the Kings right out of the building. So while they have that going on in Brooklyn, we have this young group of players, and Julius Randle's still relatively young. I think he's 27 years old. And Julius Randle's kind of leading them. And, the other aspect to all of this is that, we as hockey fans know that, our coaches tend to bury guys on the bench. They don't play guys in the third period. They don't, they'll sit a guy. Tortorella has been known for this in Columbus. He was known for it as a Ranger coach. If you're not giving me maximum effort, your ass is going to be on the bench.
What's this have to do with the Rangers?
I'm going to tell you what it's going to have to do with the Rangers. What it has to do with the Rangers, Tom Thibodeau is handling his team a lot like the way a hockey team would handle his team. And what I mean by that is R.J. Barrett played in the fourth quarter last night. He's been sitting down in the fourth quarter as of late.
Yeah.
Because, he's just not happy with, number one, the defense, and number two, the shooting. And look, if you're not going to give me maximum effort in the fourth quarter, you're not going to play. So that's tough love, man. And in the NBA, man, that is hard to do. That is a hard thing to do in the NBA. The players are incredibly difficult to deal with at times, but not this Knicks team. And really what makes this Knicks team – and the camaraderie that now is around the Knicks team is winning. And guys burying big shots when they need to make the big shots, whether it be Emmanuel Quickly, who has been a revelation, whether it's be last night it was R.J. Barrett late in the game when Atlanta had gotten close after the Knicks had come back from blowing the lead and then losing the lead and then coming back in big spots and making plays. And I'm not kidding you about Julius Randle. And a question I want to keep the guy. But it's like, he's not LeBron. He's not Kevin Durant. He's not, Antetokounmpo. You just know he's not one of those players, but he's been a revelation for us.
Yeah, I can't imagine trading him at this point.
No, I'm not saying that.
I can't even think about that.
Can you think about giving him a max extension?
Well, first of all, he only just signed his deal last year, so this isn't like it's a contract year. And even Clyde pointed that out. I thought that was one of his good points last night in the broadcast was, Julius Randle came back in shape, worked on every aspect of his game, and is having this all-star type of season, and he's not in a contract year. He could have very easily come back and said, okay, last year was a bust for me. I need to get on a contender. Now I got a new coach here. This is turning into a mess. I made a mistake by signing with the Knicks. And he did the exact opposite of that. So, I have to see. You don't have to make a decision on giving him a max contract right now, which is a great thing. So you can see how this plays out. You see how the roster is built. It's not like he's going into a walk year where he's an unrestricted free agent. And you just enjoy this. And to say that he is a leader of this team is an understatement. He is like the best player the Knicks have had in years in this stretch. This is like he's going down in Knicks history because the franchise has been so bad. Now, that is a referendum on how bad the Knicks have been. It's not all just Julius Randle, but this is my point about MVP. It's not like I think Julius Randle's the best player in the league, and yes, I'm being somewhat facetious about it, but I'm also trying to make the point that this franchise has sucked so hard for so long that nobody paid attention to them. The diehardest fans in the world, Knicks fans, wouldn't even pay attention to them. Like they put the game on for a quarter and be done because they were so disgusted. And Julius Randle with the other members of this roster, but he by far has restored interest in a team that has been dead along with Tom Thibodeau. So, that is an achievement that has to be noticed every single night, especially on a night where he scores over 40.
Well, you and I've noticed.
Yeah,
we've been talking about it. And, we have fun at Jerry's expense, but behind that fun, there's truth. And like I said, Julius Randle's performance is speaking for itself. I mean, I like I said, we have amplified it, and I don't care what you say. The emergence of Emmanuel Quickly. So whoever decided to draft him,
amazing,
deserves a raise because how many times have we drafted higher than this kid and just have not found a kid like this? And I think I remember telling you early on, before the season even started, that a buddy of mine who is a huge Kentucky Wildcat fan was just singing the praises of this kid.
Sure.
And they were all hoping that he was going to come back for another year. And I think we are all glad that he decided not to.
Yeah.
And somebody, was smart enough to draft this kid. But, so he's playing lights out. And they're putting the ball in his hands. They're giving him more time, more minutes. And then last night, again, the R.J. Barrett show in the fourth quarter. And it just amplifies, again, also what Tom Thibodeau has done.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
You cannot underestimate, when you have a real coach, and even, on top of all of this, you have the Derrick Rose infusion that seems to be going relatively smoothly and seems like he's very happy and he wants to be here. And the fact that he made the comment the reason he wanted to come to the Knicks or come back to the Knicks was because he felt like they had a chance to be a playoff team.
Yeah, well,
I mean, who says that?
Right. I mean, right now, a lot of people are because they moved up to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference and they're won 5 out of 7. And they are on a roll. Now, a couple of things that I've noticed about this team that are abnormal in today's professional sports. And one is bringing in a guy like Derrick Rose, who is a veteran player, who was going to shake up the rotation, who was, an outsider to this particular group, even though he had been with the Knicks, and them accepting him and him wanting to help the younger players right off the bat. So that's something that doesn't always work out when you make a move like that. Another thing. Kevin Knox, who has been buried on the bench, he gets a DMP last night. His name is in trade rumors. But what's Kevin Knox doing in the fourth quarter when Julius Randle and R.J. Barrett are hitting threes? He's up on his feet. He's clapping. He's cheering the team on, and he's a part of it. That's also something that you don't always see in professional sports when things aren't going somebody's way. So I really was wrong about Tom Thibodeau. I will admit that. There's no doubt about it. I really thought that maybe his type of style and grinding things out wasn't going to work. But with this particular roster, it has worked beautifully. I mean, he has changed the culture along with these guys on this roster. Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Derrick Rose coming in, Emmanuel Quickly. I mean, you can go Mitchell Robinson, Nerlens Noel. Every one of these guys on this roster is giving you maximum effort. Yeah, some guys buried on the bench and probably aren't going to be here for very long, but everybody who is getting minutes is playing with a pride and a purpose and an energy and a defensive mindset that I haven't seen in years. And you know how we've all suffered as Knicks fans because, I mean, there's like being bad and then there's being completely and totally irrelevant in the butt of all jokes. And that's where the Knicks were. And I don't know where this season's going to go, but I'm telling you right now, they're not going to be the butt of any jokes this season.
Well, you said the key word, pride. And, that's what the uniform used to stand for when they actually wear their real uniforms and you can tell who they are.
Well, they did last night.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was saying it looked nice to actually have their nice uniforms on, and it looked great.
Yeah.
And they looked great playing in them. The other thing, you talk about Julius Randle, you talk about pride, you talk about bringing it all back home. Now, their next 7 games are going to be against teams that are very similar to where they are right now. In terms of records, they could play with every single one of these teams, and you don't expect them to win everything. But you got 5 out of 7. Can you go 10 out of 14?
Yeah, I'd love to see them get a couple games over 500. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I remember when they dropped 3 games under, I asked the question, are we going to see them get to 500 again? I believe that they will. Yeah. I mean, you get a couple of games over. I mean, I'm getting greedy. I'm sorry. Like, I know that you can't get greedy and you can't, act like you've been there before, but I haven't been there in a very long time.
Well, you take a look at this. So, the Magic have a losing record. The Spurs have a winning record. The Timberwolves, they finally got they got Karl Anthony Towns back.
But they're still
now.
A bad team,
right? And then you got the Warriors.
Well, who you beat not that long ago.
So the Warriors and the Spurs are teams with winning records. The Timberwolves and the Magic have losing records. And I don't know that what does that mean for one night? One night they can have an off shooting night and all that other stuff. But winning is the elixir. Winning is what makes people believe and what makes people like each other. And I know this from my own career. When you're winning and everything's going great, man, it's fun to come to work. It's fun to practice. It's fun to listen to the coach. when you're losing, then everybody's looking at each other. Everybody's pointing fingers. So somehow Thibodeau has changed the culture in a short, very, very, very short period of time. And it all starts with their best player and somebody who came back motivated to have a great year. The guy never says anything. He's quiet. He goes about his business. You were right about him when they signed him. If you remember when they signed him a couple of years ago, you were like, this is a guy that's a true pro. This is going to be a great signing for the Knicks. And, last year, I don't know what to make of last year. They went into a bubble. Their season stopped. They didn't have a coach to speak of. It was just a mess. And I think that, if there's one player that is truly an example of what a coach can bring to a team and can get the most out of that player, and that's what Tom Thibodeau has done here. That's exactly what he's done.
For sure. And I mean, they've got to go to the playoffs now. I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like they have to go because they've played this well. We've talked about all these reasons why free agents don't want to come to the Knicks or why they are churning in this negative direction year after year and how things have to change. And then all, sorts of hires have been made to attract free agents. And none of that really matters. What matters is what's happening now. This is getting the attention of the league. This is getting the attention of the stars. When the Knicks aren't a pushover any longer, when you look at the Knicks on the schedule and you see a young core of guys that are building towards something, when you see them outworking you and grabbing more rebounds and playing better defense, and you go into the Garden and you're like, oh, crap, we better have our game face on, as opposed to we're going to roll over these suckers like we always do. That is the thing that is going to change the culture around this team and attract free agents and change things. And it's happening right now. But you got to finish because this is a long season. And I know that we're really, really excited, but this can't be like remember back in February and January when the Knicks were playing hard and then it all just fell apart. And I know that injuries can be a thing. We've seen a big one here with Mitchell Robinson. It hasn't affected him yet, but it could. But, I mean, this is one you can't, peter out now. You got to finish this thing. You got to make it to the playoffs, and that's a step in the right direction of making the Knicks again.
Well, that's why the coach is important. That's why the coach is the guy who is not afraid to sit guys in the fourth period, like he has done. And to his credit, R.J. Barrett could have went and pouted on the bench, but he didn't. Last night he got his opportunity, and the coach entrusted him again. And you have to develop a trust. You want big minutes. You want big spots. You want big shots. The other thing, too, last night that was nice was how, especially in the fourth quarter, they were sharing the basketball.
Sure. Yeah. Extra pass.
It wasn't like a guy just dribbling down and give it to Julius Randle and get out of the way. I mean, Julius Randle made some nice passes.
Yeah, of course.
And they led to threes. And, they were 50% on three-point shots last night. They were like 17 to 34. That's not going to happen every night. And I have to tell you, that was fun. That was really fun. I mean, It was a little unnerving, when they lost their big lead, but it was fun.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't even say, it's hard to say that, but with Quickly and with Julius Randle playing the way they're playing, and then if R.J. Barrett just continues to get better and better and take his craft more seriously on the defensive end so the coach can trust him in bigger spots, and he makes the key shots last night, that's what we want, man. It's all we've ever wanted. And you see effort. It's all anybody, what I couldn't stand more than anything was one guy making $27 million standing, on the elbow, just dribbling for 8 seconds. And taking a turnaround fadeaway shot with nobody underneath the basket for an offensive rebound. It's just mind-numbing. And now this team is fun. It's run, it's up and down, it's get back on defense, it's get the ball out, it's share the ball. And Julius Randle's been the unquestioned leader and best player. So I'm going to continue. I think we need to continue this, where we do believe that he should get MVP votes just simply because of the franchise that he's playing for. And here's the other thing.
Yeah.
I do not want this team. Now, if they want to get rid of Kevin Knox, they want to get rid of Frank Ntilikina, I understand all that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, you go for it. I don't care. But do not bring in like a Bradley Beal now. Don't bring in some other.
Don't trade anybody
I don't want.
Yeah.
I don't. Why the hell do I want a guy who's been on a losing team? And I pick on Bradley, but I don't know him at all. I don't know what his game's about. All I know is he makes a lot of money, and he's on a losing team.
Yeah, I don't want to see them make a move right now because you're building towards something. It's not like this group.
Let me fight with this team right here.
Yeah,
let me fight with this team.
We don't know what their ceiling is. We don't know where they're going.
Right.
It's just happening. So let's not now. If you want to trade a couple of guys for reclamation projects and then bring in Andre Drummond without trading any of your core and any picks, you can find a way to do that in a 3-team deal. I saw that floating out there. Then whatever. That's fine. But I just don't trade anybody in the core of this team right now. I have no idea where they're going to go, and I'm enjoying the hell out of it. And Mike Breen said there's only one thing, and I totally agree with this statement. There's only one thing that is missing from this Julius Randle season and this Knicks start, and that's fans in the building to cheer these guys on so they understand how much that they are appreciated. And I understand they're a game under 500, and there's probably people in basketball cities where they've got teams that perennially go to the playoffs that think that we're nuts. But we're not nuts. Actually, we were nuts because we were driven nuts by this franchise, and we're coming out of being nuts. I mean, you want to, as a Knicks fan, tell these guys how much you appreciate it, and there will be a select number of Knicks fans who are going to be able to do exactly that at some point in the near future towards the end of this month, and I think that is going to be a very, very special thing as well.
Yeah, I just hope that this is not a fleeting moment. I don't think Thibodeau will let it be a fleeting moment. And like I told you yesterday, we looked at the next 9 opponents where I thought, okay, if you can go 6-3 in that little run right there,
yeah,
you'd be, I would take that and I would buy into it. I don't know. There's certain things that you watch on the field or on the court or on the ice, and you can tell whether or not a team, actually likes each other and a team is showing effort. All right, so they don't have any of the top 10 superstars in the league yet. But you know what, man? They didn't have that when Jeremy Lin was playing. And, they were winning. And Jeremy Lin lit up the Garden. And Jeremy Lin basically, I don't know, it was an unbelievable 3-week run. And I kind of feel like maybe this isn't as intense as that was, but this Emmanuel Quickley kid is basically caught everybody's attention in the NBA.
Oh, he's great. I mean, he's just flying around. He's so quick. He's so energetic. I mean, he's just getting started in his career. I mean, it's so exciting to watch him.
I think the Knicks need to hire my buddy.
Your Kentucky fan friend?
Yeah, my Kentucky fan buddy. I think they need to hire him because he obviously knows what the hell he's talking about.
They got a lot of Kentucky on that coaching staff and that front office, so why not add somebody else? But, I haven't needed the Knicks this badly in my life in a very, very long time. I was thinking that last night watching this game. There's not a lot going on. It is the dead of winter in this COVID second-round quarantine situation. I tell you about my TV watching experiences and how I don't watch a lot of things that I want to watch. I've never needed the Knicks to come up big for me in my life more than right now, and they're doing it. Like, I'm looking forward to these games because I know I've got something I'm passionate about, that's energizing me. It's great. I just hope it lasts. I really do. I hope it lasts.
Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit the red bell so you're notified when we have new content.